Good morning, it's 9:30, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is regular open meeting of the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. Today's date is Tuesday, April 8, 2025, and time 9:30 a.m. And boardroom here, we are meeting in person, and also virtual meeting is available. And the address here is Laguna Woods Village Community Center, 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular United Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. All right. Can we have a pledge of allegiance to the flag led by Director Willis?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. I'd like to acknowledge the media. Is there any media present? No, but our TV6 camera is on, so you can watch us through TV6. And also, the whole meeting is being recorded by Granicus. So you could watch later on, right? And it will be on YouTube, usually, right? All right, let's approve our agenda. Is there any objection to approve the agenda as presented? No objection, so approved. Move on to item number 5, approval of the meeting minutes. Do we have any correction, addition, subtraction from the 3 meeting minutes, March 11, March 27, April 3rd, 2025 meetings? Anybody? No one. Okay. No correction, so approved. Okay, good morning again. Welcome. I welcome you all to the United Mutual April board meeting. This is spring and beautiful days, right? We have a lot of sunshine, beautiful flowers blooming all over, which means we need a lot of landscape work to be done properly. All right. I would like to officially welcome our brand new director, Murat Akaspi, who is sitting the last, who was newly elected last week to fill one vacant spot. His term will end 2027. And he has been already serving as advisor on our finance committee, and also he was representative on the audit committee, which audit process has been just finished, and we adopted last Friday, the board adopted. After all the correction of error or some editing and proofreading, the final copies of audit will be presented to the whole residents. So it will be available pretty soon. All right. Again, and because of reorganization, we had some changes of our seat on our board. The director, Sue Kwam, was secretary, but the second president spot was vacant because of movement of the board member from United Mutual to GLF. We elected Director Sue Kwam as the second vice president. And then the secretary position has to be rebuilt because she was a secretary. And our Miss Maggie Blackwell, all-time board member and experienced secretary, come back on the secretary seat. Thank you very much. Well, in terms of the calendar, we just adopted the audit, And now budgeting season is really, really in progress, right? So all the committees and board will work very hard to set up next year's budget, which is a big issue for all of us. And then today, the agenda item 12B is the election for next year board member, right? It will be the election calendar and the schedule is proposed and is reviewed and approved by our legal counsel. So board will approve today. Well, the election will be open, actual process will be opened officially May 28th. The nomination will open and we will receive application for almost 2 months. And then the election will be the ballot will be collected at the end of September. And September 26th is the election and our result will be decided that time. So I like to ask all the residents, please consider and take some opportunity to help on the board and help for the whole community. We need a real dedicated and committed board members on our board. I believe 3 members will finish this year term, right? So 2028 will be at the term finishing for the newly elected board members. Okay, that will complete my report or comment. Item number 7 on the agenda, this is open forum time, 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the board of directors. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes as a whole. A member may speak only once during the forum, and speakers may not give their time to other people, no audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. And members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link, which is written on our agenda, or by telephone, calling 669-900-6833, or email meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. Do we have any speakers?
Yes. The first speaker is Mirnaz Hojati.
Hi, thank you. In respect of time, I'm going to read for this just quickly in regards to the concerns we have for my dad's apartment, which is 3790 in Avenida Castilla. First, I want to just say I'm thankful for your time and giving me the chance to speak in front of the board, raising our concerns and our unfortunately dissatisfactory experience with the Laguna Woods Mutual in terms of the damage repair and related letters that my dad has been receiving over the last year and a half. There was a damage repair letter sent initially to my dad in 2023, which the date of the damage was done 2 years before that, and that was in 2021. So we were informed 2 years after this damage repair that apparently my dad, due to humidity, related to my dad's apartment, causing some damage to the neighboring apartments at the time. The first notice we received was two years later after the initial damage was done. So our concerns here has been mainly is that I haven't been able to talk to anybody. All our requests or inquiries, including letters and emails, have been ignored. And the only thing that we have received is letters, and mostly threatening letters with penalties added to the cost that my dad is responsible to pay for a damage repair that was done 4 years ago. My dad is in a critical situation at present time. He has severe Alzheimer's and severe low back pain, and that's why I'm presenting him today in front of the board. So our concerns, we were informed 2 years later after the humidity damage happened, only after the completion of the repairs and the initial damage, as I noted initially, was in 2021. And that all the charges that my dad is responsible for. We did not receive any notices in during this 2 years when the repair was done 2 years back then. And I understand that was at the time, I think, at COVID time, but there was no communication done. We were not given a chance for second opinion from alternative contractors. The costs on labor and materials were excessively inflated, overpriced, and itemized examples was included in the letters that was submitted through email or as well as mailing to the board. Both Manor B and C that were the manors that were damaged by the humidity problem from my dad's apartment renovated, upgraded their bathrooms, and put their manors for sale, and the apartments were sold. So some of the charges were totally unrelated to the humidity damage related to my dad's apartment, such as, correcting the ceiling of the bathroom, new closets, cabinets, accessories, all of them. We were charged for paying for those renovations of those manors. My understanding was also the insurance settlement had paid for the Manor B, and yet the charges we were charged, my dad was charged for paying that.
Excuse me, can you summarize because your time's up?
Absolutely. And the last thing is that we were not informed that asbestos was used in the apartments, and some of the charges were all related to the asbestos removal in the apartments. In summary, my dad is sick. He doesn't have the financial power to pay for this amount. He has a fixed retirement and is not able to afford these charges. What we are asking from the board is to please
Recording in progress.
To look into the charges made, and we would appreciate if there is any waiving of the fees, or at least the unrelated fees to the damage repair can be taken off so he can pay the rest of the amount. And if that's possible, to make it or break it down to a monthly amount so he can afford to pay it. Otherwise, he does not have the financial power.
Thank you. We'll follow up.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right. Any other speakers?
Yes, give me 1 second, please. Next speaker is Julian Godvin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Judy Godwin, 458. I live in cul-de-sac 7, which is above the post office, and it's on a hill. And you're probably familiar with the inclined sidewalk that goes up for about 50 or 60 feet, which is the access for everybody who wants to get down to Clubhouse 3 parking lot, wants to get down to the post office, wants to get down to Avenida Sevilla. It's probably one of the most visible and used areas in the village. Several years ago, the land adjacent to this inclined sidewalk was all grass, and it was taken out and water-friendly plants were put in. This was, 4 or 5 years ago. And now those plants have not been touched in years. And the grass is, of course, gone. And I counted 13 pots that were embedded. And the plants that were embedded in those pots are all dead or gone to seed. And in some cases, the pots themselves have been removed, and there are just holes in the ground. And there's just dirt. And the proper word is not neglect, it's abandonment. And it has not been touched for 4 or 5 years. And it's strange because it's a very visible, it's the most visible thing in the village. And the landscapers actually park their equipment down at that point when they're working the area. So everybody knows that it's an eyesore. And also there's all dirt. So when it rains, that dirt comes down onto the sidewalk that's used by everybody going to the PAC or to the parking lot or to Clubhouse 3, whatever. And it is absolutely, in years, it hasn't been touched. And it's kind of strange because the corner of Aragon and Sevilla, which is at the back end of Clubhouse 3, was changed at the very same time. And there was also a grassy hill there. And that one is taken care of meticulously. The plants are all changed out, they're mulched, they're taken care of, and it's night and day. And it's not only an eyesore, but it's also dangerous. I mean, all this mud and everything coming down. And if you think I'm exaggerating or not being accurate in my description, I urge you, the next time you're in your car, continue on to Clubhouse, to the end of Clubhouse 3 parking lot, and just park in where the inclined sidewalk goes up. And you
Okay.
don't have to get out of your car to see this eyesore.
Okay,
And if you get out of your car, you can really see how everything has gone to seed,
okay.
and there's nothing attractive there, and it's really kind of a danger. And,
Okay, we'll report and we will see what we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
That's
Yes.
what I'm here for.
Yes.
But keep in mind, I'm talking years, not months
Okay.
or days. I'm talking years.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Any
our,
other?
our final speaker is Chris Collins.
All right.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here with an update on the work of the Laguna Woods Village, the foundation of Laguna Woods Village that we do on behalf of residents.
Hold it a second. Yeah. Okay. While we are in session, can you please keep your noise down? Or,
What?
No, not you, but I talk to the audience. Thank you. Go on.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm here with this update from the foundation. So help when life throws you a curveball. Sometimes life can throw unexpected curveballs. For example, the recent inflation has upset many budgets. Weather extremes can raise energy costs. Illness can take us off track, or the death of a spouse can change financial stability. Many residents have heard that the foundation can help when they encounter such hard times. For example, by paying an electric bill, getting a new medication not covered by a copay, providing grocery cards, or securing help after hospital stay. While temporary help from the foundation is temporary, Laguna Woods Village can make a difference to deflect that curveball. There are some examples here of temporary help that recently provided, as well as guidance on how to request assistance. So the first one, Foundation of Laguna Woods Village helped a woman pay for her past due Edison bill. She had recently had a significant increase in medication copays, had fallen behind, and received a disconnection notice. Without the foundation assistance, she may have had her service disconnected. Second one is the foundation helped a resident of dementia who lives alone and has experienced falls obtain an emergency response device. Recently, she fell, and she used this device to call the paramedics after the fall, and otherwise she might have been left on the floor without a way to get help. And the third one is a resident on a fixed income was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Without finances to pay for the caregiving, the foundation stepped in to cover the costs of caregiving as she entered hospice care. The support provided the resident's family with peace of mind as they transitioned her to moving her into home care for her. How can a resident get such assistance? They only have to go to social services, which is located here in the rear of the community center on the first floor. Trained staff can also be reached at 949-597-4267, and they will explain how to qualify for such temporary emergency assistance. Privacy is ensured, and all requests are kept confidential. If financial assistance is provided, the foundation pays the bill directly for the resident. So with social services, the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village works to ensure access to temporary help when finances become tight. So for more information, you can go to our website, which is the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village.org, or you can contact us at the foundation at comline.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. All right. No more speakers. All right. Do we have any response to open forum speakers? Maggie? Oh, Maggie.
Yes, the first speakers about your father and the issues, sign up for a resident hearing. That's where you deal with these issues. If you have those problems, go across the way, or maybe someone here will help you. Sign up for a resident hearing. You will have time to tell your story, and we will go over the bills and everything else and make a decision on your case. Yes?
So we have received the letter for a hearing this Thursday.
Oh,
Can you come?
Last week, but I'm out of the country.
oh,
And I've called several times, no, I haven't been able to speak with anyone. So this is the only situation.
okay, we'll
Okay,
reschedule.
We'll arrange it. Okay. Thank you. And Nancy?
I'm chair of that committee, and what Maggie told you is correct. The way you described it, it suggested that there'd already been a hearing, because you said there was already, in essence, a finding of a financial award attributed to your father. Is that true or not true?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Was there a hearing already scheduled previously where they got the financial amount? Okay, then Maggie's correct. You would want to request a resident hearing, and if you can't, if he's not available on that date, you can request a postponement.
Who should I talk to?
Okay, we'll
Go
follow
ahead, go to the
afterwards, right?
concierge and just check in for the compliance department.
Compliance.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Yes, Ginny?
To Julian Godwin about the landscaping.
Go the microphone. Close.
Oh. Hi. I noticed Siobhan took a note. She'll be directing that to landscaping to go out and take a look at it and make a decision as to what needs to be done in that area. Okay? Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you. All right, no more response, right? Okay, now response to past open forum speakers. Director Blackbelt.
Here it is. Okay, last time Chris Collins gave an announcement on the foundation. Elizabeth Romano commented on retaliation acts against her. Marlene Coven of 896Q requested a red line curb accommodation near her carport. The MNC committee denied this request on February 26th. It was determined that there is no safety issue. Hassan Kafshi of 856B talked about an electric vehicle issue problem. The MNC assistant director will be reaching out and following up with the resident. Kathy Bravada gave a speech. She talked about landscaping in the common area where trees are removed. That item is scheduled to be discussed on the next landscape committee meeting. Janet Troiano of 2189S said that carport cleaning is useless and money can be better used somewhere else. Well, we took your suggestion and it's received. We will decide to do whatever we decide to do. Thank you for your information. Okay. Thank you so much.
That's it. Thank you. All right, let's item on the agenda. Item number 9, CEO report. Siobhan, please.
Honorable
All right.
President, members of the board, and our audience, I'd like to share some key updates from the community this morning. My presentation's getting placed on the screen before you. The first thing I want to update you is on the CAL FIRE updated severity zones map. As you know, CAL FIRE has released updated fire hazard severity zone maps for Southern California, including Laguna Woods. The zones are classified as moderate, high, or very high based on fuel, slope, fire weather, and wind patterns. The maps inform defensible space regulations, zone 0 regulations, and wildland-urban interface building codes, which VMS is working closely with the city to thoroughly understand. State law requires cities to adopt the maps within 120 days. Cities cannot reduce the designated zones. Residents may view the updated maps for Laguna Woods on the city's website. The address is cityoflagunawoods.org/projects. and they're also viewable at City Hall. The City Council will consider adoption on May 21st at 2 p.m. at Laguna Woods City Hall. Questions and comments should be directed to the city by contacting Planning and Environmental Services at planning@cityoflagunawoods.org or by calling the city at 949-639-0561. The recent LA wildfires have raised questions about the village roof fire safety, and we want to let everyone know that all residential and GRF facility roofs in United and Third meet building and fire codes. All roofs have a Class A fire rating. This is the highest rating for fire resistance. Vents are screened and chimneys have spark arresters to prevent ember entry. If you notice any damaged screens or spark arresters, please report these to resident services for inspection or repair. I would also like to share a few updates from landscaping services this morning. The department is implementing new rodent bait stations with sensor technology. They appear identical to the previous bait boxes, but are equipped with an IQ tray featuring built-in sensors that send real-time alerts via an app when rodent activity is detected. This technology will reduce the need for manual checks and improve response time. This also helps identify high activity for strategic bait placement and enhances the overall effectiveness of our rodent control program. Landscaping Services is also implementing new nursery software. This is in the early setup phase. This technology streamlines inventory, orders, and customer tracking. It tracks costs by mutual and GRF, supports data-driven growing and propagation decisions, and shows plant care and placement details, i.e. shade, sun, needs, and aesthetics. Landscaping Services is also ready to launch its spring and summer mowing schedule. The United Mowing schedule features bi-weekly mowing in April, and in May we move to weekly mowing. The mowing is completed Monday through Wednesday in United, and we appreciate your patience as the team adjusts to the new schedule. The 2025 tree maintenance contract is underway. As a reminder, there are more than 37,000 trees in the village that are maintained through a 6-year species-based trim schedule. That means 7,600 trees are trimmed annually for health and aesthetics in the community. We use ArborPro GPS software to schedule and track the work. And this year, Bartlett Tree Experts is our contractor. And to date, through the first 3 months of the year, they've trimmed more than 1,100 trees. And they're going to trim 6,800 trees over the next 6 to 8 weeks. So they're front-loading the trimming schedule, which is different than our previous contractor. And this is a great thing for the community because it reduces the likelihood of storm damage and trimming requests later in the year, and also reduces liability for the mutuals. The Maintenance and Construction Department provides an update on the Clubhouse 2 pool deck renovation. This project began in late February and is on track for a Memorial Day completion. Demolition is complete, and installation of the new colored concrete pavers is underway. The pavers will reduce long-term maintenance and enhance surface safety and appearance for pool users. And on the screen before you are 2 pictures of this work. On the left-hand side is the demolition that has occurred, and on the right-hand side is the surface ready for installation of the pavers. I want to share an update from Resident Services. We want to share the work order summary, work order satisfaction survey results from February. And the results show really good experience. On the left-hand side, call center experience was rated by 82% of respondents as excellent or good. Our maintenance experience was rated as 80% excellent or good. The response time to our callers was responded to by 81% as excellent or good. Residents rated our employees as courteous and professional. 88% said the service was excellent or good. And in terms of service meeting expectations, 80% of the respondents rated this as excellent or good. As a reminder, our Community Services Division hosts regular real estate forums. The Spring Forum is coming up on Wednesday, May 7th. at 1 o'clock in Clubhouse 1. And this will feature a resales question and answer session. Seats are limited, so residents are encouraged to RSVP to Realtor forums at vmsinc.org. And I would like to conclude this morning with a reminder about an upcoming Social Security benefits workshop. This is sponsored by our Social Services Division and features Jennifer Miranda, Public Affairs Specialist for the San Diego and Orange County Social Security Administration. The workshop is on Wednesday, April 23rd at 2 o'clock in Clubhouse 7. No registration is required. And there will be an open forum following the presentation, so residents are encouraged to bring their questions. Presentation topics include how to make informed decisions about your financial future, gain clarity on retirement and Medicare options, learn how and when to apply for Social Security benefits. Plus, there will be an overview of Social Security benefits as a whole, retirement, Medicare, survivor benefits. It will feature the latest Social Security Administration office updates, application guidelines and timelines, and key changes to the windfall elimination provision, the government pension offset, and the Social Security Fairness Act. So if you're interested, please join us on that day. And that concludes my update this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siobhan. Is there any question
Recording stopped.
for our CEO? All right, Murat.
Yeah, thank you for the the update. I looked at the CAL FIRE map that you mentioned last week.
Murat, can you put your microphone close to your
I'll
mouth
get as
a
close
little
as
bit?
possible. So I looked at the CAL FIRE map last week, and I noted that they tagged almost a third of the Third Laguna area as severe risk, red. And I just wanted to find out if you shared that assessment.
Well, whether we share it or not, it doesn't matter. The state is not going to change the maps.
I mean, your opinion on the matter.
What we're focusing our efforts on is what is called the Zone 0 regulations. So what is required in terms of maintenance for that area. And we are working closely with the city and the state on what will be required for that effort. And so that is our focus, making sure that the proposed regulations best meet our needs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Sue.
Madam Chair, I spoke with the Orange County Fire Authority to make sure that I understood this correctly for United. And United is not in the high risk, the medium risk, the low risk. While there's always risk, if there's something like what happens in Hawaii or in Paradise or Malibu, that we're suburban, and it does not show anything that would be mandatory for us at this time. Third is the one that is going to have quite a concern. Right. So I was very happy about that, because that could cost a lot of money to remove trees. And of course, we have to do what is sensible. Trim the trees, keep the bushes low, those sorts of things. So I was very happy about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question?
Madam Chair?
Yes? Oh, Charlie.
Thank
All right.
you, Madam Chair. Just one little question on slide 11. Under expectations, and everything is very positive here. This is a very good report. It does show in the gray area. Is there one procedure that people are not satisfied with to cause that?
Generally, what we find is that people don't like being told no. If it's trimming's going to happen in a few months, we won't come out and trim in the next 30 days, for example. But we do follow up on the negative comments to see what we can learn.
Okay, good. I thought that's what would be something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam CEO. All right, let's move on to consent calendar, item number 10. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such item or items shall be the subject of further discussion and action by the board. We have A through G. Is there any item that you want to remove? No? Okay, then are we ready to adopt this consent calendar approved? No objection? Oh, yes.
I move that we accept the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, there's a motion and second, all right. No objections, right? All approved. Thank you. Okay, unfinished business, item 11, disciplinary report. Do we have a staff person here?
I believe staff is coming down right now. I think Blisilda is handling this today.
Okay. Then should we go to B first, all right? Entertain a motion to approve the revision to Standard 6 air conditioning units, heat pumps, March initial notification and 28-day notification for member review and comment to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. So can now Madam Secretary read our resolution, please?
Thank you. Resolution 0125XX, Revised Standard 6, Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to revise Standard 6, air conditioning units, heat pumps. Now therefore be it resolved, April 8th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 6 heating, ventilation, and air conditioning as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 012404, adopted January 9th, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolved further that the officers and agents of the corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The March initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I move this resolution.
Any second? Okay, Jeannie has second. Any objection to approve? Do we have to vote, actually? No.
Any objections or no?
No, no objection. All right, so approved. All right.
So Blisilda's here if you want to go back to.
Okay, let's go back to 11A, disciplinary update report. Hello, welcome.
Apologies, I got distracted by another report.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Before you is the disciplinary report for this month. It captures the open cases from January to March of this year. The total number of cases have remained relatively consistent. We started the month with 317 cases and ended with 311. Delinquencies showed a notable increase for March. This is due to staff from both the compliance and financial services department focusing on these items this past month. We anticipate that this number will be reduced by May. That concludes my report. I am available for questions if the board has any. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question? Yes, Ginny.
What's an abandoned vehicle?
It's defined per your vehicle rules and regulations. There is dust and debris, and the tires will be marked by security. And if it hasn't been moved within 7 days, that could be considered abandoned.
And what happens to those vehicles?
It depends.
Or to the member?
So let's say it's a tenant that was left the unit and left their vehicle, which does occur, then the owner has the authority to tow the vehicle out of the community. If the vehicle is in common area, then we would have to go through the disciplinary process, at which time we go to the board and ask for the authority to tow the vehicle, and then we'll put a 92-hour tow notice and then tow the vehicle out.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
Morning.
Morning.
So I see we doubled in delinquency since January. What's the scoop?
We were just focusing on it. I came back from maternity leave. It was given to me as a nice project, and we just wanted to get it all done.
Thank you. Well, finance committee has been watching the numbers because there is a tendency to go up, yeah. All right, we are concerned. All right, thank you. Any other question? No question?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to 11C. Entertain a motion to approve consultant service for building elevation color rendering again. All right.
Wait a minute, excuse me.
Yes.
I thought that the building elevation thing, or wasn't that, weren't we going to ask the Camera Club to do it?
Well, actually, it was defeated. It was a tied, 5-5.
Oh, okay.
So we decide, Maggie suggests that we're going to re-discuss
And what
this
will the
meeting.
cost be?
Cost is on the staff report, 11C. So we have a staff person here. So can you come and refresh our mind, please?
Thank you. Good morning, members of the board. Appreciate the opportunity to present this item to you. The item before you is to reconsider the proposal to hire a consultant to prepare color renderings for the proposed new color palette that is being considered by the board. At your last meeting, we presented a proposal to have 7 building models, renderings for 7 building models prepared at a cost of $7,780. United has 17 different building models. For your reconsideration of this item today, we are presenting a couple of other additional options. If the board does not want to do a full, the original 7 that was proposed, as stated in your staff report, you could potentially elect to only do 5 at a cost of $5,800, or you could just do 2 at a cost of $2,700. So just giving you some options in case you want to do something other than what was originally proposed, which was to do the full 7.
Well, I guess I don't understand, since there's a broader number of colors being considered, why not get samples rather than maybe the renderings from the paint company?
Yeah, we have samples. Those were originally presented to the M&C committee, the architectural committee, and then the board. And then the board asked that renderings be prepared.
Yeah, board decide to do it. So is there any motions or, but we have options now, right? So your recommendation is?
We would still recommend the 7. I think
Right.
that gives the community a better option to look at their particular type of building. But obviously, the board can elect to do something less than 7 or more than 7 if you want.
All right, Nancy, do you have any motion or ideas?
Yeah, I just want to comment and then I'll make
Right.
a motion. I do continue to urge that we do some sort of elevation color rendering, because people cannot telegraph from a paint chip what it's going to look like. So if we have some models that are set forth with the variations, I believe that will help a lot of people to understand and be able to say, okay, well, I like that set, so on and so forth, and translate that into, if they're in a one-story building. I'm in Madrid, it's a one-story building. You know, I can easily translate that, and I think my neighbors could too. So I think this is a good selection of units based on what I've seen, and I would move that we accept the recommendation that's presented us today, which is a modified and a reduced cost.
Okay, so all 7
For the
models?
7,000?
All
Correct.
7 models? Okay.
Yes.
As recommended. All right,
Yes.
there is a motion to, yes?
Right.
There is a motion. So
There's a
is there any
motion, so it's
second?
discussion.
Right.
Is there a second?
Yeah, there is a second. All right, Maggie, discussion.
How many complaints and issues have we had in the past about the paint program?
I'm not sure I understand the question, Director Blackwell. Complaints and issues about the paint program?
Yes.
The colors.
I don't have that data today.
Okay.
I don't think it goes to him. I think we hear it.
I think,
It comes up in town halls.
All right. Okay,
okay.
Maggie, go on.
In my opinion, I think so few people will be interested that actually this is a waste of time. It's not a huge amount of money, but it is a waste of somebody's time. In the past, they've allowed people to go over and look at similar buildings if they've been painted, and then they can pick if they like it or not. So I don't know why we would have to do anything more than that.
Okay, any
Thank
other
you.
comment?
Maggie,
Jeannie.
Maggie,
I cannot say the name right this morning, sorry.
I hear you. I also know that when we had a town hall where we discussed potential, pardon me? When we brought the pallet, it was standing room only. We had to go get more chairs. I think people are very invested in the color of their manners. They have very few choices in this in this community, and their manor color is one of the things that they can control. I do believe that, and the feedback we got from that town hall is that they would very much like to see what maybe not their particular manor, but a manor look like. Number one. Number two is, I think we'll get a lot of goodwill from doing this by making people part of the process. So I firmly agree with Nancy on this, that I think the $5,800 or the $7,700 is money well spent.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nancy?
I just
Okay.
want to footnote what Jeannie just said, which is we then have a record. And it's easier to do the next time, too, if we have to.
Okay, Tom? Microphone, please.
Can you tell me how many different color palettes are going to be in the renderings of these elevations, drawings?
Yes, there will be 8 different color schemes for each building model.
Thank you. Any other question, comments? Yes.
I have a question, because when I originally saw the palettes in a meeting here, it seems to me for the 2-story buildings, and I live in a 2-story building, the only choices for the full color of the building, not the trim, were dark choices, like a dark green or a charcoal. Is that still the case? Because, I mean, I think we should be able to, if we want to keep something close to the color we currently have, rather than finding our entire neighborhood as a totally different color, if we don't want that.
Thank you.
So the colors for the 2-story.
Okay, Sue.
Madam
It's a
Chair,
question. I
if-
was asking a question.
Oh, was a question, right?
I don't remember the actual colors, and I should have brought the boards with me today, but there's 8, I think there's 8 different colors for each different
Yeah, we have
1,
seen,
2,
we have
3-story buildings.
seen and many times
Yeah.
during the committee meetings, ACNC
Yeah,
also.
there's multiple. There's at least
MNC.
4 or 5, up to 8 for each different.
Okay. All right, Sue.
Madam Chair, what I remember and being surprised about was that they had selected light colors for the trim so that they didn't fade as much. So what I remember is totally different than what Georgiana heard. It was that doors were brighter. But again, it's just memory.
I'm going to call the question.
Right, yeah. Call the question. There's a, yes, Megan.
I'd like to speak for my second time.
Okay.
Okay, so each building gets to choose its own color, and the people next door can't choose the same color, and the people next door can't choose the same color. Now we have each building is slightly different. What happens if 5 in a row decide to all be the same, and then someone else wants to be different? This to me is a thing that can.
Right, but Maggie, that's what
Yeah.
happens now.
Right, right.
That's what happens now.
Yeah, my only comment is that we've been talking this too long, I believe.
Yes.
So we need to decide one way or the other, all right? So are we ready to vote?
I call the question.
Yes, well, yeah, call the question. So we are voting now, right? We need to. Okay, if you like to consent the motion, which is as recommended by the staff, all 7 buildings will be rendered, right? So we're spending $7,780. Okay, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. I voted, okay. Okay, 7-3-1, it passes. Thank you. I will done. We are not coming back to this issue anymore, right? All right, thank you very much. Now let's go to new business.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
While we're still on this?
Right.
Manuel, now that we have approved moving forward with the 7 renderings, what is the timeline for that approximately?
You would think that I would have anticipated that question. I don't think it'll take long. We should have them, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks at most.
Okay.
We'll push the consultant and get them done sooner if we can.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, move on to 12A, Town Hall by Director Costello. Your time.
That's me.
Right.
All right.
Oh, whoopsie.
Yes, Madam President, we
Yes.
do have a town hall coming up this week, April 11th, 2 p.m. at the PAC, per usual. The topic of this month's town hall will be fire safety and preparedness. We have a representative from the El Toro Water District with an overview of their preparedness plans and an overview of the updated OCTA fire hazard severity zones. We'll be reviewing the maps, what hardening is, the roof things, all of those things, also things that you can do as a resident to make sure that you're prepared, like having a go bag and things like that.
All
So
right.
come join us on Friday, 2 p.m. at the PAC.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't know if we did, but I had some members ask if we would put on the website or on an email what should be in their go bag or
Yeah,
what they should
that's-
have. Okay.
That is one of the slides that we have is what goes in your go bag.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ginny. Okay, next item, entertain a motion to approve 2025 annual election schedule. Who is presenting this recommendation?
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our normal schedule that we have every year that we put through legal counsel to review. So we just need a motion to approve our election schedule on this one.
Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, the election is on now. So please make note of all the important dates and let's go on, forming a new good committee board. So is there any question, should we have a motion to approve this recommendation? Okay, there's a motion. Any second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Comment?
Yes, comment?
Okay, please, if you are running for an election office, tell us your information. Tell us your background and your experience. It is more important for us to know your background and experience and your knowledge and ability than it is to know what your goal is. Some people only tell us their goals, and we need to know why they should be helpful on United and what committees they should be on and so on. So please, in your application and in your speeches, please tell us why we should pick you on what your abilities and talents are. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, there is an application form, and there are some, blanks to fill. And if you faithfully answer the question, I think that will satisfy. All right. Any other question?
No, I move that we accept this schedule.
Okay. All right. Second. Well, we've been already moved and seconded. So any objection?
Oh.
No objection. So approved. All right. 12C. Yeah, entertain a motion to approve an increase to the annual corporate electric vehicle charge fee from $240 to 636, effective June 1st, 2025. April initial notification and 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. Our financial director has just stepped in. Steve, it's your time to present it.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Morning.
So we are obviously
Okay.
just
Yeah, let us read the resolution first by our secretary, right?
Okay. Resolution 0125XX, plug-in electric vehicles, annual fee for use of 120-volt outlets in carports. Whereas the state of California and the U.S. government continue to offer incentives encouraging residents to purchase plug-in electric vehicles to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote environmental sustainability. And whereas the United Mutual has previously permitted those owners to utilize 120-volt outlets in common areas under a $240 annual fee structure established in 2016, 9 years ago. And whereas the current annual EV charge does not reflect the actual cost of electricity consumed by EV owners within the community. And whereas at the March 25th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, the committee approved staff's recommendation to increase the annual carport electric vehicle charge from $240 to $636, effective June 1st, 2025, based of usage assumptions. And whereas electrical vehicle users who prepay the correct annual fee through December 31st, 2025, prior to May 13th, 2025, will not be subject to the increased fee until January 1, 2026. Now, therefore, be it resolved on May 13, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes to carry out this resolution as written, that all plug-in electric vehicles owned by residents of United Mutual shall be assessed an annual electric vehicle usage fee of $636. Number one, every vehicle must be registered through the automobile registration process and obtain a decal from Resident Services that must visibly be displayed on the inside corner of the driver's rear window at all times while charging from Mutual carport outlets. 2, an annual January to December electricity usage fee set by United Board will be required for every PEV registered. This fee may be prorated for PEVs registered during the year. This fee is set at $636 per year or $53 per month. Charging must occur in compliance with posted guidelines to avoid overloading circuits. Residents are encouraged to coordinate with neighbors and stagger charging times to prevent circuit breaker trips. Recommended amperage draw is no more than 8 amps. And if more than 2 vehicles are using a bank of circuits, each vehicle should be limited to 5 amps or less. Owners of vehicles are solely responsible for maintenance of the vehicles and any associated charging equipment. No modifications may be made to mutual outlets, circuit breakers, or wiring without proper authorization. Owners seeking to use high-voltage charging must comply with board-approved alteration standards section 41 and shall be required to apply for a permit and make necessary arrangements with the electrical service provider, currently SCE, for installation of a separate service panel and conduit and appropriate electrical outlet. In such an event, vehicle registration will not be required. Resolved further that Resolution 01-16-112, adopted on December 13, 2016, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. This is April initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. The staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
Any second? Okay, Charlie, seconded. All right, now, Steve, can you explain the detail?
Thank you very much. I'll briefly say that back in 2016 is when this was last changed. From that point, so electricity back then was around $400,000. So there was an investment in solar panels, which ultimately decreased your electricity. So, and then shortly thereafter, we were affected by the pandemic. In short, your electricity had gone down from 2016. Now we're at a component where it's gone back up, and now is the time to effect a change. That way you can offset the increasing electricity charges. And also knowing that electricity is going to continue going up in the future years, hence our recommendation. As was stated in the resolution, if this was to be approved on a go-forward basis, the charge for an annual fee would be $636. Anybody coming in, say, June, July, August, would pay a prorated rate at $53 per month for the remainder of the year. And then beginning in January is when the first time when someone would pay the full cost of the $636. So, and again, our recommendation is goes into effect June 1st. Clearly, we made some assumptions when going through this analysis, so we brought it before the Finance Committee. There's no way for us to know how many individual miles each individual drives in their car. So we did some analysis. We went online and pulled some statistics and said that on average about 7,600 miles is driven by someone potentially in the age that would be living in this community. We also took the charge that was an average rate that is to be expended in terms of electricity costs. And that's ultimately how we came up with the 636 recommendation before you today. From a revenue perspective, again, intention is to offset cost, but if this were to be put in effect, you would anticipate bringing in additional revenue that would offset cost to the tune of about $97,000, I believe. And then the difference between the 2025 and the 2026 budget that we'll be recommending before you is about $115,000. And again, the intention is to offset the costs that are rising on an annual basis.
Thank you. Any question? Okay, Sue?
Madam President, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
On the electric vehicle, it says just EV. Well, there are hybrids, so are they lumped into this, or will that be a separate policy that will be coming forward? Because there's a big difference in somebody getting 16 miles to EV versus somebody charging.
Correct. So we were targeting plug-in hybrids. So for anybody who, our recommendation is going to be anybody who does not use their electric vehicle on a regular basis or has potentially a hybrid who rarely fills up, there are alternative places to plug in. So we have charging ports here outside the community building as opposed to paying the full $636 for an annual fee. But ultimately, it'll be at the discretion of the individuals.
Okay, I don't think that's fair. But the other question is on the 636, that's a big jump. And this, some people are driving the old hybrids, and that's that could be hard for them to come up with 636. So are they allowed to do the $53 payment without penalty per month?
So right now, $240 is the annual fee, right? So if they already have the $240, if they already have the sticker as of today, it will carry them through for the remainder of 2025. Going forward, if they want a new sticker to be able to plug in, if they've not had one in the past, they will need to pay the prorated rate for the remainder of the year. Your question, can they go on 1 month, off another month? We would likely say no. That would be very difficult for staff to accommodate.
So you can't just say, I want to put it on the payment plan at $53 a month for the year?
That's a different question. We would probably take that on a case-by-case basis. Ultimately, we prefer to take the payment up front, but on a case-by-case basis, we could make considerations. So I don't feel comfortable answering that question right now without having how many people would want that payment plan, so on and so forth.
Okay, Tony is the next person.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two questions, I guess. First of all, do we, Laguna Woods Village, do we have the capacity to provide this kind of service on a continuing basis? And if we don't, are residents able to get some compensation when we fail to produce the service? Number one. And my second thing is, if I'm hearing correctly, if we're including solar panels with charging, I think I think those are two separate worlds. Taking light and making electricity, and then taking electricity from the power company. I think those are two different things. But do we have the capacity to produce for residents this stuff? And if we don't, what remedy do residents have when we fall short to produce? Thank you.
So my only response to that is I'm purely here to talk about the financials. So from a capacity perspective, I'm going to go ahead and defer that to our maintenance and construction teams. I know that there is difficulties at time where you'll trip a breaker and someone has to come out and get that fixed. But you're currently offering this service. So, and ultimately the individuals living in the community are paying less than what is being charged by SEE. So we're trying to rectify that component. On a go-forward basis, if they want to expand the service, that would be up to the board, and that would be a discussion at a later time.
Thank you. Nancy.
Yeah, I have a couple comments in support of this proposal. Actually, I think it's a bargain. I drive right now a gas-powered vehicle, and I know what I pay in gas tax and gas per month, and I'd be happy to switch to this financial arrangement. Number two, and it's an important one, is electricity is a function that falls into our assessments, our monthly assessments. So to the extent that we are offering a class of citizens a privilege that all classes get is something that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We will offset our electric expense by generating revenue from people who are driving electric vehicles because that's their personal choice. We do not have, this village wasn't designed with the anticipation, nor many HOAs with the expectation that we're going to be putting in electric chargers. And we got 18,600 people, so that's a lot of drain on the system, so to speak. So I think this is a very, very fair, if not economical, way to go. When you buy an EV, you're choosing to spend more to buy that car. I don't see that we should be getting into the nitty-gritty of doing payment plans and things like that to add to our overhead virtue of time and labor of staff. I think this is a simple, straightforward, and appropriate recommendation. And I just want to remind the people, EV people who don't have stickers on their car, that there's a downside to that too, because there's stiff fines if you get charged and ticketed. Mm-hmm. So this is fair, it's equitable, and it doesn't punish all the members for increase in paying electricity for people who choose to buy an electric vehicle, even as it is a good thing altruistically.
Thank you. Tom was the next one.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. I think this is a fair calculation, the formula you use. The only real variable is how much somebody drives per year, which
right.
You have a method for calculating that. And even if you were off 10% or something in air, you're talking about $5 a month, $5.30 a month, even if you're 10% off in that. But any amount that we're under means the whole community is subsidizing EV vehicles and everything. I spoke to a Tesla owner who had calculated their own driving and everything. It was a two-car family, and they don't drive their EV for long trips, only for local, which was a little under, but they still calculated their costs would be $500 a year on the outside. And that was a year or so ago. So I think this is a pretty fair and accurate way of doing it, is 7,600 miles a year. The exact number, don't know, could be a little less, could be a little more. In some cases, I'm sure it will be, but I would support this as a fair and equitable formula to use to go forward.
Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, Murad.
The analysis also used the commercial.
Microphone, please.
It's on.
On. Then closer.
I'm going to be as close as I can. I just note that the analysis used the commercial and industrial rate, which is lower than the residential rate, and therefore there is a built-in saving in that analysis, because if they were to use a level 3, not only they would use probably tier 2 residential rate at a level 3 rate, which is a lot higher. By going this way, they are actually using a lower rate, a CNI rate that the village is able to get. And therefore, I agree, it is a very good solution for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
more comment? Yes, Charlie.
Yes, I'd like to thank the VMS staff. This report that they did is a very well-rounded report. I've done research on this. I think this will help us eliminate, even if it's a small hole in of our revenue, it will help. I plan on getting an EV this year, and I have no problem paying this because I know it is the right direction. So thank you again.
Okay. Georgiana, just one.
Yes, I just have a question. About a year ago, I had a conversation with someone who lives here who said he has 6 golf carts. So, would he have to?
Okay. Well, yeah. And plus, this is not golf cart. Our golf cart issue is coming up, right?
Correct.
So
That'll be
EV.
taken care of,
All right.
addressed at a later time.
Right. Thank
It is
you.
on our consideration. Thank
All
you.
right. Any more questions? Now, yes.
Sorry, we have 2 member comments, one in person, one on Zoom. So
Okay.
for in person, Catherine Bravata.
All right.
Hi, Kathy Bravada, 864P. Excuse me. I have a couple questions concerning it. While I agree with some of you and I disagree with some of you, I would like to know how many EV vehicles there are in the community right now for United. And since we have over 6,000 units, the offset, my other question would be how much, okay, I had this in my mind and now it's gone. Okay, so say we have 500 EV users in the community right now, that would leave 5,500 or so that are subsidizing this cost.
That's right.
The tier 1, 2, and 3 that you were talking about currently for residents, tier 2 for me is 43 cents is what I pay. I do not have any electric vehicles. My sister and brother-in-law, they do. And I pay close to $148 a month because I do drive a lot. And for someone with an electric vehicle that everyone in our community is paying for them to use, $53 a month, while it is an increase from $20 a month, I don't think is high enough.
Okay.
Most of the people coming into our community are younger people, and younger people do tend to drive more. So I appreciate the fact that it's being increased, but I would like to know, if possible, how many actual owners there are of the EV, and for those of us who don't, how much of the electric bill are we subsidizing for them?
Steve, do you have an answer?
Thank you.
Yes, I think he has answer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So right now we have anywhere between 500 or 600 EV vehicles in the community, specifically with United. There are 228 that have signed up for stickers at this moment. So that's a big difference. So, however, those individuals are either getting electricity from outside the community and or because it's either faster or whatever reasons they may have, or they're taking the risk of being identified by compliance and incurring a fee. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you. All right, one more
Yes, I'm going to put this person on right now. Give me
Okay.
1 second. This is going to be a Lauren Lutzenheiser.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Great. Just have a couple of really quick comments. I'm an EV owner, and I drive, my travel right around the village comes in under $240 a year, by the way, but I should pay more, and I think that obviously the number should be higher, and 636 could be the right number, but I think the question I have, or the problem, I have a couple problems with this. One is that the assumption of 7,600 miles a year, as we were just told, was, quote, pulled from some statistics on the internet. I think that if we're going to make this kind of a sort of a once-in-a-decade decision that's going to affect a lot of people now and in the future, that we try to use some actual better analysis than that. At the February meeting, and I had to go back and excavate these things, at the February meeting, some cost analysis was promised by staff, along with some potential different scenarios at different pricing and impacts. And what came back was this $7,600 a year estimate, which I think empirically is probably high. I'm reaching out to people I know in transportation research at UCI, UC Davis, and my university in Oregon to see how good these data are for people over 65. And I do know that as age increases, vehicle miles traveled decrease. I know it's less for women than for men. I know it's less for singles than it is for families. So I'm not sure how well one size fits all will work. I don't object to paying more, but the cost studies were promised and numberly performed, and I can think of at least 3 ways to do those using existing data that would allow us to really understand how much energy people are using and what the actual costs are. Because I think there's, on the other side, a danger of overcharging for this on the basis of not really good information. Several months ago, this board created a special energy subcommittee to look at EV charging and mutual-owned solar. I was told that as an energy expert, EV owner, I'd be an advisory to that group, and staff was well aware that that committee exists, having drafted the board resolution, so I was surprised there was a parallel effort on EV charging fees in the Finance Committee, of which I'm sure no current EV payers were aware. And while, so I urge you to send this back to committee for more careful analysis and thorough vetting with actual resident input. At any rate, I mean, I think it's I see where you're coming from. I think it's a good idea. I think we've got to move on, but I think we should do it on the basis of decent information, best possible information, as opposed to guesses and things sort of pulled off the internet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So one thing I would still encourage you to move forward with this, but I do hear what you're saying as a resident. My goal is, all of our goals are not to overcharge anybody. But one thing that I would like to work with maybe our IT team and our resident services is potentially as people come in and renew their vehicles, the registration, maybe what we can do is part of that opportunity will be to take down their mileage. And then on an annual basis per vehicle, we will maintain a list of how much mileage is actually being driven within the community and use that statistical average specific to this community as opposed to pulling a national average. But at this moment, so right now you're in a situation where you are subsidizing the community, and this is the best information we have at the time. And the longer we postpone, the more you'll incur as residents.
Okay, we have a motion. And yes.
No, I just want to respond to the remarks that he made, which I appreciate. And the notion that we would be looking at this every 10 years, this is a direct cost. We look at our direct costs annually. And This is something, as I said before, goes into an assessment, and it's being underwritten by the membership. So we will look at it as often as the Public Utilities Commission sets rates that require us to look at it, so that we try and maintain a fair and equitable balance. Okay. Again, this is an elective purchase, and the people who drive all the other vehicles do not get any subsidy.
All right, we have thank you for the comment, but again, the parliamentary procedure-wise, we have a motion on the floor and seconded with a discussion. Any other discussion, further discussion? And we need to move, vote for the motion, right? So let us vote. One more vote. Who did not vote? Okay, 11-0. It's passed. Thank you very much. We will continue to study on the Energy Committee with the saving costs and solar energy, so on, so on. But as of now, the motion passed. Thank you. All right, let's move on to next one. Same Finance Department matter. D, 12D, entertain a motion to approve a temporary borrowing of $6.5 million by the operating fund from the reserve fund, with $3.5 million moving from cash and $3 million moving from investment held by J.P. Morgan. Can you read the resolution, please?
Thank you. Resolution 0125XX, temporary borrowing. Whereas pursuant to Civil Code Section 5515, the Board of Directors may authorize the temporary transfer of monies from a reserve fund to an association's operating fund to meet short-term cash flow requirements or other expenses if the Board of Directors has provided notice of the intent to consider the transfer in a board meeting notice pursuant to Section 4920, and whereas the notice required pursuant to Section 4920 has been provided in the agenda for this Board of Directors meeting, and whereas it has become necessary to temporarily transfer monies from the reserve fund to the operating fund to meet cash flow needs due to 1, timing differences in when property insurance premiums are paid versus when they are collected from residents through monthly assessments, timing differences in property tax assessments, and the operating loss occurring in 2024. And whereas the amount of funds needed to be temporarily transferred from the reserve fund to the operating fund has been determined to be $6,500,000, with $3,500,000 moving from cash and $3 million moving from investments held by J.P. Morgan. Full payment of the borrowed monies is planned for November 2025, but is not to exceed the maximum period of 1 year from the date of approval. And whereas it is planned and anticipated that sufficient cash flow will be generated in the operating fund from resident assessments to repay the $6,500,000 to the reserve fund, therefore a special assessment will not be needed. And now therefore be it resolved April 8, 2025, at the transfer of $6,500,000 as a temporary transfer from the reserve fund to the operating fund for the reasons stated herein, and with the plan to repay within 6 months, but no later than 1 year from this date, is hereby authorized and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
And second? Charlie, all right. There's a motion and second on the floor. Okay, Steve, can you again?
I think
Remind of us.
Director question first.
No, yeah, he's there and he will ask. All right, yeah.
May I
Yes.
ask a question? And Steve, you could probably answer this in your presentation. We have to do this often, to pay either the taxes, property taxes, insurance, that sort of thing. So how much is needed in our monthly increases to stop the need for this borrowing? Could we, if we increase this, and we couldn't last year because we increased our reserves as much as we could, but we need to be able to tell people how much this will cost us to correct this problem. No.
So no.
It would just be added
we try not
on.
to use the, it would not be a special assessment because you have plenty of money in your reserve accounts. So ultimately, if that was the path that the board would want to follow, the recommendation from staff would be to increase your contributions to your contingency fund. So for every, it's $150,000 about, so for every dollar that we add to your per month raises about $150,000. So I can do math on the side, but it would be a considerable amount. I want to say the last time we did this analysis, it was around, you'd have to increase it to the tune of about $50 per month.
Okay.
So 50, 55. So it would be a considerable increase if that was a path that you wanted to choose. That is an option, obviously. If that was something that we'll discuss that during the 2026 budget planning.
Right.
My recommendation is going to be by default increase your savings, not the tune of $55 per month, but just to replenish your savings account, a rainy day fund, right? But again, Civil Code allows for this. I think it's prudent to continue down this path. I think in the future, you will not need to borrow to the same dollar amount. Property insurance is what it is, right? So you're continuing to pay incrementally higher and higher. You had high dollar amounts a couple years ago. They've subsided a little bit, but costs inevitably increase, so I would anticipate they go back up. But hopefully you will not have the loss that you experienced in 2024. I'm hoping that was more or less a one-time event. So we plan differently for 25. We'll plan differently for 2026. So you should not need to borrow as much as you have in this instance. So this happens to be the exact same dollar amount that you borrowed in April 2023.
Right.
But based upon my forward looking, I would not anticipate you'll be borrowing that same dollar amount in 2026. So,
Thank you.
but just to, no different than last year, I will let you know that I would still anticipate 2 borrowings over the course of the year, just like you had in 2024. You had one in April and you had one in November, December timeframe. We'll likely be making the same recommendation for the current year until a contingency fund is built up to where this would no longer be an issue.
Thank
If
you.
that's choice of
Ginny.
board.
I have a question, and it's about the timing. Because it seems that this whole question is just about timing. We have the money, just not there and when we need it. I understand that property taxes basically flow through because it's basically we're just taking from the member and paying their property taxes for them. That's fine. Insurance is prepaid 12 months in advance. So that's approximately $1 million. Is there a possibility to change the timing of the insurance so that it doesn't all hit at one time, like property taxes twice a year or every quarter, so that maybe we're not hit with this huge amount and then we level out later? That's the question.
So we've asked that question, great question, and the answer has been no. A couple of years ago, they were more open to it. We'd actually been given the opportunity to finance it over the course of the year and make monthly payments or quarterly payments, our choosing. When we made when we passed the information over to the board was not interested in paying a financing fee. They would rather just borrow from themselves in order to pay the dollar amount. But in the past year and a half, the insurance companies have been firm that that's not even an option any further. So.
Cover their losses.
Right. Thank you. Yes, Tom?
Yeah, the property insurance is like $4 million, $4 million a year.
Yes.
And that's what causes the main cash flow, not so much property tax, but prepaying
Yes.
$4 million a year. That's what causes our cash flow problem.
Correct.
And if we didn't do it that way, it would cost our members another $200,000 a year, $150,000, $200,000 a year.
The financing.
Yeah, the previous year's, the insurance was due in October, which did not work very well because of budgeting issue. You know, we should anticipate exact amount, how much it will cost for the next year, so on. So as of now, it's the best option. We've been discussing this over and over again. Yes, Georgiana.
Yes, I was just wondering, what is the...
Microphone, please.
What is the income loss? If we're moving from investments at JP Morgan, what's the loss on that?
That was my next one.
So you're averaging about 4%. If you give me a moment, I'll go ahead and calculate it. But so you're paying it back over the course of the year. So $6.5 million you're borrowing. Forgive me, the $3 million you're borrowing from your investments. Here, let me just go ahead and type it up. I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that you're borrowing for the full course of the year, which is not the case. But if we were to borrow $3 million and not pay it back, you'd be losing $120,000 in interest earned on that. But we're going to be paying it back. The goal is to return it to the investment account. It's going to take place probably right now from a forecasting perspective. I don't have it built in to pay back this year, but in 2026, I anticipate that money going back to your investment account.
Thank you. Any more questions? All right. Are we ready to vote, Tim? All right. Let's vote.
We're still waiting on Anthony.
All right. Unanimously, it passed. Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve. All right, let's move on to the next item. 12E, entertain a motion to approve the enactment of Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manners. April initial notification, 28-day notification for member review, and comment to comply with Civil Code 4360.
You don't have to read it, I read it.
Huh?
That's the same as...
Okay, all right, move on.
Okay, Resolution 0125XX enacts Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manners. Whereas the United Lagunowitz Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to enact Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manners, now therefore be it resolved May 13, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manners, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. April initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends, as the board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with Civil Code 4360.
All right.
I move this resolution.
Any second? Okay, Charlie seconded. Okay, and is there any step person to? Can you explain the from ACSC? Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, brief overview. Currently, there, when it comes to standards for flooring requirements, the only requirement that we have right now is we don't. If there is a complaint, then that enacts the policy procedures for the complaint department, which they are spelled out in the current standard. If it is tested then there are certain standards that that flooring needs to meet. There is no registration right now of what requirement it is. So the only thing in effect is testing if there is a complaint.
Right.
The new policy increases the standard for testing if there is a complaint. It also requires registration with the Manor Alterations Department of what they are putting in. And it simplifies a little bit the complaint procedure requirements. That is in a nutshell. I'd certainly entertain any clarifications or questions.
Okay. Yes, Nancy is first, and then Jeannie. Go ahead.
Morning, Ellen. You know, we're seeing in member hearings a greater incidence of first floor people complaining about the second floor unit. And we've seen in the marketplace an expansion, a great expansion of LVP, luxury vinyl plank flooring, and other types of hard surface flooring that can go into structures. And they may look great, but nobody's thinking beyond that appearance. We do not have a lot of insulation between the first and second floor on buildings, and I think this is a real problem. I think this is actually something that we talked out in hearings that we felt should go to ACSC about this, and that there had to be almost a prohibition with certain products. But then again, are we in the business to be analyzing those products? But it is a genuine problem. So while we want to create a standard, are we creating a standard where we're increasing our work? Where we have to have staff go out and measure volume and do all of those things too. So I'm not looking for a double-edged sword here.
Neither are we.
So it would seem to me that our original program, which was you can have carpeting on the second floor and padding, I think that was the original standard for United on second floors in buildings, right? I mean, I wasn't here 60 years ago, so.
I didn't see either. Maggie was.
I'm not sorry, Maggie. I wasn't looking at you as if you were.
Though I have not been here since 1965.
I'm so sorry.
Tell you that vinyl flooring was in the kitchen areas and in the bathrooms, as is customary.
Right.
Okay. This policy, I think, is very good because some people are just newly lower floor people. They've never been underneath anybody before. And so they are upset by any noise up there, thinking it's wild critters or birds or whatever. And they need to consider that. The realtor should make them aware of that. And so sometimes we have people that complain and complain and complain, and we test it, and we test it, and we test it. This section 4.6 reimburses the cost if it is over the measurement. The complainer does not pay. If it is in accordance with the measurement, in other words, the winner pays, the loser pays. So if the downstairs neighbor is too sensitive and the flooring is really meeting all the requirements, then the downstairs resident pays the cost of the inspection. I think that's very reasonable, and I think it's better than us trying to pay it every time when it is the downstairs one. I like that part of this resolution. I know that realtors like to sell the unit on the view and everything else, but if you're a first floor newbie, then you might need to consider something else. Thank you.
Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not a first floor newbie. I'm a 12-year first floor guy. And if the people upstairs sell their place and somebody moves in and puts hardwood floors up there and then they put a roller chair on there, and I have to sit down and listen to the roller chair or their grandkids running around the floor. My whole concern is to protect the privacy and lifestyle of the people on the first floor. And if this is going to allow more noise, then I'm against it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any
let
more
me, if I
Yeah.
may, clarify that.
Yes.
Currently, the standard for meeting a requirement is 50 decibels. This new update will require meeting a standard of 57 decibels, so it's actually increasing your sound requirements.
Right.
It's also requiring a underlayment of a 20 decibel
Right.
rating in addition to that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good decibels, but what about sound pressure levels?
There are no, there are no guidelines. The only guidelines that we have now and what's being proposed is that it meets currently the state mandates
Well,
requirement.
what about sound attenuation? Sound pressure level 1 is to sound pressure level 2 as the distance from sound pressure 1 goes to sound pressure 2. That's the formula for sound attenuation.
I don't have an answer for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Nancy?
What happens if the person fails the test upstairs and does it come to member hearings and we're supposed to fine them or require them to remove the flooring?
Currently, the standard reads, if it is tested, and it's only going to be tested when somebody complains.
Right.
You may go for years and not have a complaint. If it is tested, however, the member that put in the new flooring is required to meet the new requirements. If they don't, then they put in flooring to meet those requirements, and they are responsible for the costs of putting those in and retesting.
Yes, Ginny.
I have a question. So when they,
Sorry.
Was it
Tom? No, go ahead.
when they come and ask for an alteration, assuming that they do, I would hope that they would, are they presenting the flooring and the underlayment options for review and approval as part of their overall alteration approval process?
It is not an approval per se. They are simply registering with Manor Alterations that this is the product that they are putting in to their manor. They will need to purchase and install the product per the new standards. And we won't do anything else unless it becomes an issue. If it becomes an issue, then we'll go back to their registration and say, this is what they put in.
So it's up to them to know what the requirement is and to ensure that their flooring and underlayment comply with that. But we are not checking that before we are approving them to install it.
Correct. Let me remind you, there are no requirements right now. So the only thing that we're adding to that is that the member register or go on record in their file of what they are putting in. If it becomes an issue, then we'll go back to that file and compare what they did.
It just seems to me that it's an awfully expensive mistake or oversight to make if we do not let them know up front that this flooring could be a problem. If we have standards, we should hold people to them before they put this flooring in. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this isn't a minor issue.
Just a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Do you answer for that?
It was a comment.
Yeah, there are standards. The current standard, again, right now, if and when there is an issue and it's tested, it must meet the minimum standard. All we're doing with the revised standard is increasing that sound level, making it better for the first floor member. And we're adding to that the requirement that you have to put in an underlayment that meets a certain decibel requirement, where before or existing there is none.
So there's no underlayment requirement now?
Currently.
Okay, so
There's
we're
all-
asking them to meet a 20 decibel underlayment requirement for their underlayment, and then we're increasing the sound volume of their floor, actual flooring from 50 to 57, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that is actually louder.
No.
Absorbs
Yeah,
more.
absorb
Oh,
more.
okay, all right.
Absorb
That's what I
more
didn't
loud.
understand.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Tom has been waiting.
Yeah.
No, I have 4 questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, if I understood this correctly, this makes for a stricter policy
Yes,
on the
exactly.
flooring, correct?
It increases the requirement and requires registration, yes.
Okay. And how much variance is there between the IIC rating and the actual, when it's tested? Do you have any idea?
The IIC testing is a factory test that establishes the measure of sound. There's also the FIIC, which is a field test that measures that level. Typically, field testing are 3 to 5 points lower than the factory condition.
And so when there's a complaint here that you're going out, and what will be the requirement if it's within the proper rating or not? The FIIC?
Yes.
And if that's below, is that going to be 57? Or
Correct.
Okay. So anything below 57, then the party above has some responsibility.
To comply with the new standard.
Okay. And does VMS have any capability to do the field test, or do you have to hire from the outside?
The grievance procedure requires that VMS hire the consultant, but all the costs are reimbursed by the losing party.
And the costs are $1,500, $1,000?
Current estimate for an acoustical test right now is probably between $1,500 to $2,000.
So and that's what discourages residents from doing this, is because the cost is so high, and either you're going to make your neighbor pay $1,500 or $2,000, or you're going to pay $1,500 or $2,000. One of the two of us would pay that money, correct?
If it came down to a grievance, yes.
Right, if the test was required.
Historically, I am told by compliance that they don't entertain very many of these issues at all.
Right, because somebody's going to have to pay $1,500 to $2,000.
Right.
And then the last question or statement is, on a resale package, if you're buying on the second floor or the first floor and an alteration's been made to the flooring on the second floor, there's a notice on there of some sort. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I follow the question.
The checklist has alterations.
When there's an alteration that's been made on the second floor above a first floor, then there's a notice to the potential buyer that this may be required to correct any flooring issues that don't meet standards.
Let me try and answer that this way. When a manor is sold, there is a resale inspection done on that manor. At that time, a report is looked at, any of the alterations or changes that have taken place. One, are listed. Two, they're looked at to be in conformance with the standards. If they're not, then they need to be in conformance with the standards. So under this new policy for flooring, the registration of the flooring, if that was occurred, will be listed in the resale inspection report.
But isn't there a warning given to potential buyers on the second floor or the first floor about the issue?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. Currently, in the resale documents, it's pretty clearly stated that you're responsible for the manner of which you're purchasing. So once you buy that manor, you become responsible for that.
Thanks, Alan.
Tony, all right, thank you. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So let me get this straight. So what I'm worried about is that somebody on the second floor installs something, and then after the fact, it doesn't meet the criteria. So now that person on the second floor has got to replace it and all that. So because we say from the factory says it's going to be all right, but after the second floor installs, then there has to be a test. And if it doesn't pass the test, then that person upstairs has to replace that. So I'm not comfortable with that at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mirette.
I do agree with Directors Costello, Tuning, and Liberatore. We have two opportunities to be proactive, one at registration and the other one at resale. And we're saying we're going to be reactive and wait for grievance, which, to your point, will just increase costs for everyone. I don't understand it either. I think I don't know. It seems like too reactive. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Nancy.
I think this is begging for something that we modify in the resale package in the governing documents where we have a disclosure on that specifically. It is occurring more. We are seeing this arise more. So again, that was my point earlier, is that we're going to get all sorts of staff time consumed in this business, and even people complaining, well, I didn't know about this, back and forth, because we see how long that can take. So I think we might want to ameliorate this by having something go in the resale package where it's a disclosure. I think there is something in generic terms that every alteration you make must be compliant with code, but that's kind of pretty general. And flooring is a fundamental thing. It's one of the first things they change when they go in.
Okay, Maggie is going to be the last comment, I think. And
I
then
would suggest that we pass this and put it over for the 30 days. We have two articles handed to us by Tony Mandel here, which are very informative. And with the package in our minutes here this morning, in our package here this morning, I think if we read this over this month, we will get a clearer idea of what this is. Tony Mandel's argument is persuasive, and she does have documentation here. So I would suggest that we not discuss it finally today because we don't know all of it yet. And that we put it over, we pass it and put it over for 30 days and make our final decision as is customary.
Can I ask Paul?
So we do have two member comments on this one.
Okay.
If you're
Tony
ready.
is the one, right? Well.
Yes,
okay.
we have two. So if Tony wants
Okay.
to come up first.
All right, Tony, can you come and speak? Thank you for the documents.
There's one more I'm going to give you after I speak.
Okay, can you put your microphone down?
Yeah.
Okay, please.
How's that?
Yeah. better.
Before we start, I'd like to welcome our newest board member. I saw your conversation with the board, and I think we're
You would have voted for him.
Absolutely. I think we're fortunate to have you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Answer some of the questions. Before we start, can I answer some of the issues he brought up? There are no.
Speak into the mic.
Yeah, you need to speak into the microphone.
I have to remember language first. Thank you. There are no specifications right now because the hard flooring isn't allowed on the second floor of United buildings, because only on the kitchen and the bathroom. So that's why there are no specifications, because it's not allowed. So I have been here since forever, and so I've been here when this issue came up before board, came up before third. Okay, I'll launch into it now. The floor ceiling assembly is a complicated dimensional construction set between floors in buildings with more than one floor that incorporates flooring, frames, joust, soundproofing, plywood, concrete, strip, board, air, walls, and in our case, heating elements, and more. It becomes a singular entity designed so its entirety affords specific measurable sound attenuation. Attenuation is to lessen, as required by the Uniform Building Code. A simple way to think about the assembly is a drum. It's a drum, and drums magnify sound. But imagine if a drum's head, its surface, was carpet. Think about what that would sound like. The entirety of United's assemblies were planned and built for and with carpet. Christopher Jean of Bricken was hired by Third. Before I get into this, I'll say the floor ceiling assemblies were standardized. They were probably built to standard through this whole community, and they're the same. I'll start with that. Christopher Jean of Bricken was hired by Third to investigate and determine if, or if not, hard flooring was suitable for its units. He gave his report of his findings on March 18, 2010. Jean determined by his own investigation of Third's original construction documents that Third's floor ceiling assemblies were constructed for carpeting, and further concluded after ASTM-E1007-97 tests of sampling of floor ceiling assemblies that Third's floor ceiling assemblies will fail code when carpet is replaced by hard surfaces, absent extensive, expensive, ancillary construction of the assembly. The board was informed by its own expert in a packed open meeting on March 18, 2010, that Third's floor ceiling assemblies were built for carpet surfacing, and if carpet is replaced with hard surfaces, no matter the underlay, the assembly will never afford the level of sound attenuation of the assembly surfaced with carpet. Further, the surfaced with carpet assemblies were constructed to meet minimum code. And if hard surface replaces carpet, the assemblies are all likely always to fail code. Some notes I jotted down here, yeah. As for if you decide to accept VMS's proposal, I think a test after the installation would avoid grievances. And grievances are terrible. You end up hating your neighbors. It's awful to have to go through, and they take a long time, and they're emotionally very destructive. So I think you have to try to avoid that. And one way to do it, if you accept this, which is questionable, is to have a test made after the flooring's installed for a reading to see what it is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The other thing is to deal with the issue of realtors should tell people who are interested in a ground floor unit in two-story buildings that there was an alteration and there was hard flooring above the second floor, on the second floor. They should know that before they buy the stock share.
Okay.
I once broke a lease because of this issue.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I think
Thank you.
that's enough.
Time is.
I have this. What I just read to you, I can give out. So you can add that to the little package.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate
The
it.
last speaker is Kathy Bravata.
Okay, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy Bravata, 864. I'm a little concerned. I've lived here since 2011, and I remodeled in 2014. At that time, I had hardwood floors, and I was told when I remodeled that the rules were you could only have laminate flooring, and that was in 2011. So when Alan says there's no rules, I'm a little concerned about that because I was flat out told I could not use hardwood flooring. I because of my neighbor downstairs, I did put in carpeting. My kitchen, bathrooms have laminate, but I put in carpeting because the noise is so bad. My other 3 upstairs neighbors, a few years after I put in the laminate based on the requirements, they put in hardwood floors. My next door neighbor, whenever she sits down to her dining room table, I hear her chairs, and I'm right next to her. My neighbor across the way, they've actually almost come to blows because he put in hardwood flooring, and my neighbors downstairs, Jenny, with his dog, keeps her awake all the time. Now, Jim's dog passed away, so it's better. And my other neighbors, when they passed away, and one passed away and one moved, the new people put in hardwood floors, and my neighbors, Sunila and Gami, are having a lot of trouble. So whatever noise level you can put in, make it higher, because it really is very, very disturbing. And that's why I will keep my carpeting.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. More comment? Just last comment.
Madam President, I don't have a comment. I want to make a motion to refer this back to committee to address the concerns about notification and how we address these things. So I move that we refer this back to committee for further work. That's where it should be hashed out versus here at the board.
Well, there was a motion on the floor. Yes, second? All right. Okay. So refer this one back to, yes? Maggie?
We
There
have
was
a motion on the
right.
floor.
Yes.
Okay, then I
Yeah,
urge
we
a
have to
no
vote on.
vote on your motion.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor as recommended by the staff, so we have to vote for that first. All right?
Can you restate the motion?
Uh,
Can you restate the motion on the floor? Just to accept the resolution?
approval resolution.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you. So let us vote now.
Well, excuse me, point of order. The director made a motion to refer this back to committee.
Yeah, but there was an original motion already. So let us do it
But
and then
she's
report back
making
to
a
it.
motion to refer it back, not to vote on it.
Okay, sure, you can do that. You can make an amendment, right. There should be amendment to refer back to the original committee. So, yes, let us vote on the amendment, right? So, yeah, let's do that way. Okay, so,
I don't consider that an amendment. No, it's not an
No.
amendment.
Maggie was the one who
I think-
originally made the motion, so she would need to.
okay, so we have to follow the original motion maker. So let us vote first, and then if, defeated, then we can back to the.
If we vote no,
Yeah.
and then we can vote
Right.
for the other.
Yes, okay. All right, so let's vote first, original motion. Okay. That's all.
Two more.
We still need videos.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. One more?
And Sue.
Oh, didn't it catch it?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
And now we have the
I'm a
other
no
motion.
vote.
yeah, so the motion, original motion is defeated. There is another motion to refer back to the committee,
Right.
right? Okay,
I think
so
that's correct.
can we vote for there is a motion and second, right?
Right.
Okay, back to.
Yeah, so
all
this
right.
motion would refer back to the committee.
Yeah.
Motion
Yes.
by Sue Kwam and seconded by Anthony.
Okay,
Right.
Okay.
so let us vote, refer back to the committee. I voted.
And we're still missing Maggie.
Maggie?
Oh,
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. We are referring this motion back to the committee, and we will re-study, right? And then what's going to happen to next one? F, right? entertain a motion to approve the rescission of interior flooring policy.
That's postponed then.
Same thing, right?
So-
So we're
Yeah.
going to postpone it, all right.
I
So-
think also it would be good to know if we're giving anything to contractors or anything like that that says what flooring to avoid, what not to avoid, or even what companies, because flooring comes in different depths, and you can buy a 12, which won't last as long, but maybe something that's 21, I don't know, however they measure it.
All right.
There are different qualities too.
Yeah, we will consider that after we set up the policy. Thank you. Yes, Maggie.
I move that we postpone the rescind interior flooring policy to the next meeting.
Sorry, I believe you have to you have to read the resolution first.
I have to read it.
Yeah, 12F.
Point of information, if nobody makes a motion, it just dies.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make a motion or anything, just
Pass it.
just don't do anything with it.
Pass it on.
I'll read
And
it. I'll read it, and no one seconds it.
Okay. We don't need
I think that will.
Nobody needs to
You don't
even
need to
make
do
the
it.
motion.
The agenda
I
item
think
is
it
there
says an
as a
agenda
resolution,
item.
so
I should-
let's move on like that. All right, let's
I'll
go on.
read it, and there may be no second. Okay. Resolution 0125XX, rescind interior flooring policy. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to review policies as necessary, and whereas the Mutual enacted Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manners to incorporate the processes currently contained in the interior flooring policy, and whereas the aforementioned integration of procedures would create a duplication of information, the Mutual recognizes the need to rescind the interior flooring policy. Now therefore be it resolved, May 13, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds the interior flooring policy as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 018115, adopted November 13, 2018, is hereby canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. April notification, should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with 4360. I move this resolution.
There's a motion, is there any second? No second, it dies. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Automatic refer back to the committee. All right, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to G. 12G is the recommendation to approve the request for the replacement of the landscape at B864 with concrete paver due to the lack of irrigation. All right, Kurt is here. Can you please explain the resolution? Read the resolution.
Resolution 0125XX, fruit tree and vegetable policy. Whereas the fruit trees in common... No, not that one. Okay, this is H. It's G we're on?
Yeah, G.
Okay.
You said pavers, but I have gravel and artificial turf.
The request the landscape replacement.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that is it. Recommended, there is no resolution, just read the, there is no resolution on there.
Oh.
So just recommendation. So Kurt come out and explain that. But there is no resolution. It's 12G.
I don't have a G.
Good morning.
Yeah,
yes,
so
I do.
there is no
Still morning, right?
resolution.
Oh,
Right, okay.
This normally would have been on consent. It only came before the board because it had already been to MC, and then it
Okay.
came, and residents came and spoke last month at this
Right.
meeting for this. So this is an area that there's several buildings that have this particular case. Most of them have been dealt with by residents doing their own thing. So this one had landscaping that had been watered by a resident who passed away a few years ago, and the landscaping met its ultimate demise following that. So there's nothing living there right now. There's no irrigation close to that. It would cost us upwards of $5,000 just to bring irrigation there. So we presented to the committee gravel or artificial turf, and the committee recommended concrete pavers instead of that. Residents of the building were at the meeting, and they want to put potted plants there and water it themselves. I think that covers everything. It'll look green again, and it'll be solid and safe. So I think this is the best solution to the problem.
Okay. Any question?
I
Yes?
just have a comment.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't willing to water the plants, but they're willing to water plants in a pot.
Well, you see, yeah, that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
With quote unquote landscaping, it's more involved in watering a few pots, where pots hold the water themselves, and landscaping needs regular irrigation, especially in the hot days of summer. So it's slightly different.
Okay, is there any motion to approve this recommendation? Comment? Yeah?
So Kurt, why is this even on here? Isn't this something you normally would just handle without it coming to the board?
It actually came to it went to M&C for a request for golf cart parking.
Right, so we denied it.
That was denied and then deferred to us.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, residents came and spoke to the board last month on this issue, so we just wanted to bring the board back into the loop.
So you're not asking for additional funding?
Nope.
You're not asking,
Nope.
you're just asking to do your job?
Yes.
Okay, Kathy?
So does that mean you're going to put in pavers?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And my neighbors are the ones with potted plants on their balcony that want to move them downstairs.
Okay.
And
All right.
they will.
Any motion to approve? Oh, question? Well, we don't have a motion to approve, so, okay, Tom.
I move that Kurt and his landscape can do their job.
Right. Okay, and the second, any objection? No objection, so approved. Thank you. All right, now H. Recommendation to approve the request for the prohibition of planting vegetables and new fruit trees. Okay,
Okay.
now it's time for you to read the resolution.
A fruit tree and vegetable policy. Whereas fruit trees in the common area were planted by or at the request of members as part of the discontinued Yellow Stake program, and whereas fruit trees are not maintained or trimmed by the mutual and are the sole responsibility of the member to maintain and must be tagged by the member or his or her successor, whereas the responsibility of maintenance of fruit trees can be passed on to new members with the purchase of the residence, and whereas fruit trees and vegetable gardens are a known affectant and food source for wildlife and rodents, and unmaintained fruit trees exacerbate the problem. And whereas the 2 garden centers have been provided by the Golden Rain Foundation for the purpose of providing a place for residents to grow vegetables and food crops, and whereas there had been a significant increase in rodent activity since state-mandated restrictions on rodenticides were put into effect. Now, therefore, be it resolved May 13, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation introduces the revised fruit tree and vegetables policy, which prohibits the planting of any fruit trees, vegetables, or other food crops in the common area, and requires members to tag and maintain existing fruit trees in common area and in exclusive use common areas, and resolve the planting of vegetables and new fruit trees in common areas is prohibited. Resolve further, existing fruit trees in common area and exclusive use areas are to be tagged and maintained by the member, and reserve further during the resale process the responsibility to maintain existing fruit trees in common area may be accepted by the new member. If the new member declines to accept the responsibility and maintain the fruit trees will be removed at no cost to the members. and resolve further to maintain the health and safety of the members, fruit trees found to be unmaintained will be removed after notice by the mutual at no cost to the member, and resolve further fruit tree maintenance shall be defined in the attached fruit tree maintenance policy, and resolve further resolutions U-84-129 and resolution U-84-130, effective August 28, 1984, are hereby superseded in their entirety and no longer in effect, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. This is the April initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting no less than 28 days from the postponement to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
There's any second?
I second.
Okay. Do you like the secretary job? Okay. All right, there's motion and second on the floor. Do we need any explanation by the staff, Kurt?
I think it would be good, Madam Chair.
Yes.
If I may, this, people take their fruit trees very seriously.
Yes.
And so it's important that people understand what the provisions would be. And so we wanted to make sure that people understood that they have the option to keep their fruit trees, but they also have the option to have them pulled out, and we will absorb that cost. And I don't know if...
All right, Kurt, can you stand and come out and explain the details? What are the options?
Yes. United has thousands of fruit trees. And what we're just trying to do is maintain what we have now. It's becoming more and more difficult for us to deal with controlling rats. We'll never get rid of them, but controlling them. The state keeps passing restrictions on the types of rodenticides we can use, and for good reason. It's to stop this, what we call the secondary kill, whereas a sick rat, which has poison in it, is picked up by an owl, and then the owl eats the rats and dies from the secondary poison. So therefore, the rodenticides we use now are weaker. They take longer to kill the rats. The rats need to feed on the bait more often, so it's not as effective. And there's a graph in here showing that since those laws have passed, your rodent populations are going up. So this is one step in trying to control the rodent population by reducing their food. The number one thing is human hygiene that we need to work on. In other words, if you put trash in the dumpster, make sure it all goes in the dumpster, make sure the dumpster lid is closed, things like that. Not keeping pet food around your house. All those kind of things help us control the rodents. The other thing is people's vegetables and fruit trees are prime targets for rodents to feed on. So this is to try to get under control of the fruit trees. The part in here about tagging the fruit trees, we have tags that we will provide for the residents. A lot of the fruit trees out there, it's clear who takes care of them. A lot of them, it's not. So we're trying to attach fruit trees to residents, to units, so we can sort of get, when we do have one that isn't being maintained, we know who to talk to. So that's one little piece of this, so we can kind of control it. The other one is to stop the planting of fruit trees. We have enough. You guys have thousands of them. So to try to get it under control. For perspective, in here there's a graph from Third. Third started removing fruit trees. We removed over 200 fruit trees, and their rodent populations went down. So that is a proof that fruit trees are a big cause of rodent food. So we're just trying to get that under control.
Thank you. Nancy.
Yeah, there's one exception that I would add to the list. The fruit trees, and then the only fruit that grows on the ground are strawberries, and they pick up wind and they get planted. I know right in my area, there's a number of beds, and they spread by rhizomes. So they will spread. All you need is one little thing to land there. And I literally watched it happen in the last year. And they're beautiful, and people are picking strawberries, and they're very sweet. But also, I discovered a whole bunch of rodents, and I had to call resident services. So could we add in, since strawberries is the only one that we
This
could
does
add-
say, and other food crops.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I think
Okay,
so.
good.
Vegetables,
Because
yeah.
this needs to be eradicated.
Yeah.
Okay. Murad was first, and then Vidya.
So,
Yeah.
Nancy, apart from strawberries, watermelons also grow on the ground. They just spread all over. But where do you get those tags? The tags?
Yes, we have them. If residents call in, we can go out and provide them for them. It's just a small vinyl tag that we write the manor number on it, but the important part of that is us having a record of who's maintaining what fruit tree.
So where do we call for that?
Resident services.
Okay.
Oh, one more question.
Okay, just a minute, Murad.
Yeah, just one comment and one question. The comment is I thought that coyotes and rodents can only eat fruit within like 3 feet from the ground up. So therefore, anything above 3 feet is safe, so to speak. It doesn't become food to coyotes and rodents. So I'm not sure why I removed the entire tree. The question I have is, what happens to existing fruit trees in the common areas that were not accepted by members when they, upon resale? Because this is new policy, but prior you said there was no such thing. So there are a bunch of trees in common areas with no tagging, because they will not be tagged because I guess the existing members did not accept them upon resale. What happens to those?
So prior to this, when residents did not accept them upon resale, they were charged for removal of the tree. The seller was charged for the cost of the removal of the tree. This is just saying that we will do it for free going forward. And the first fact you stated may be true for coyotes, but rats can climb stucco walls.
Oh.
So a tree is no match for them.
Nice.
Okay, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is almost like a PSA you can give. But I'm curious, what is the animal guard that they can put on the bottom of the tree? Do they get it from you, or they buy it from a
They
garden
buy
center?
it from, that's a last case scenario. They're semi-effective. It's what you see them, some places like Disneyland has them on their palm trees. It's a aluminum metal shield that goes around that the rats can't climb because they can't get a hold of it with their claws.
Like a collar.
Right.
Any more question, Tom? And then Tony, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're trying to do here, Kurt. Solve one problem by cutting down trees, but trees are pretty sacred in this community. And in the past, we've had recommendations to cut down canary pine trees. There was talk about southern magnolias, ficus trees, and now citrus trees. So we're talking, I think the inventory in your landscape management plan showed like 6.4% citrus trees in United or something, which equates to somewhere over 1,100 and some citrus trees. With this, there's a lot of responsibility on a resident member to take care of those trees. So there's a good chance that a lot of them are going to be cut down or removed. And then the others, the people that are responsible for them, will feel like they own those trees, which according to the policy they don't, and anybody can pick the fruit out there that wants to. Is that a correct statement?
That is correct.
So I think that's going to create more of a problem. And I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad effect, but if you look at the community, we've got people feeding the squirrels and that with peanuts. We've got bird feeders hanging all over the place. And I bet you that those two things attract more rodents than the lemon trees do. So I appreciate this, but I'm not in favor of this policy as it reads right now, not the total policy about the citrus trees.
So this will go on 28-day, so you can submit your revisions to us, and we can bring them to the board next time.
Okay. Yes, Sue?
Madam President, this basically clarifies what is currently happening. What happens now is that you move into a building and you either accept or reject the trees and the garden around your area. And then if you say, no, I don't want it, then you have to negotiate with the homeowner to say, have him take it out, or it's on your dime to take it out. So this would say that we will pay for that to help us offset the cost of the rodenticide. And plus, it's just not good to have rats running around. Whenever I walk, I notice that there are, where there are fruit trees, especially nice ones that are oranges or avocados or apples. There are some apple trees. Immediately by the side of the house, there is the big rat trap that goes along with it. And so if things are not maintained and the owner is told to maintain it and then they say, I don't want to, I think that's a win. Yeah.
Okay, Nancy, you are the last, okay, and then Tony, and let us vote then.
This is almost a point of information, but to that point, the rodenticide that they're using now is less efficacious. And we had an issue with some fruit trees right in our area, and so they came out real quick and put the rodent boxes in there. The next 2 days, we had 7 rats dying on our front walkways. One came into my front patio and was dying there, and it's kind of pathetic to watch because they're not dead. They're still squirming and stuff. So you can't just pick them up and put them in the trash. So I see the value in doing this, even if I don't like some of the nuances. I think it's an important advancement on our part in the whole scheme of things.
Okay, thank you. Tony, can you come out and speak? We cannot hear you.
My understanding is the fruit trees are private property. I pay for the fruit tree that's in my area where the planting is done by the resident.
Okay.
And I don't appreciate the fact that someone can come along and just take the fruit. And
Yeah, it's a
I think you have to make the difference between common area fruit trees, and there aren't many, I don't think. So the private property of the fruit tree, the lemon tree, I happen to have a lemon bush. That's private property.
Okay, well, you can read the resolution, it explains that, right?
I think that is really confusing to people, and we are asking our attorney this afternoon to verify this for us, but it isn't common area.
People would like to hear you.
Okay.
Okay, let us focus on this meeting, please. Kathy?
Hey, guys. I get your attention.
All right. Go ahead.
Sue, please start again.
Okay, I think there is a misconception. We don't have private property. It is common property. It's owned by the co-op. And so I know it's very upsetting that people buy the tree, maintain the tree, and somebody comes along and picks the fruit. And that is not neighborly, but as far as we can tell, it's permissible.
We're allowed.
I'm sorry, we can't go back and
please,
forth.
Right, we cannot.
Please,
This
please,
is not
one
a
thing,
question answer.
one thing that's important. That area that's 36 feet from the walls around the building is allowed for private planting of the resident.
Okay.
That lemon bush was
No,
private
yes.
planting.
A 36 square foot. That would be the 12 feet in the front of your
Right.
residence, 3 feet deep.
Right.
Otherwise,
That's
this tree, the fruit trees are supposed to be tagged. That would mean you put something on it that says this is the property of, and that should be tagged. That's in this.
Right. So Tony, it's not the time for you to speak, so let us just move on. Okay, did you finish your comment?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So I think, let us vote for, yeah. All right.
Do we need a restatement, or do we know what we're voting on?
Well, we know that we are voting on the resolution.
voting on the
Yeah,
resolution,
okay, so we don't want to read anymore. It's too long. So can you vote? Right.
Okay. Somebody's not.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, 10 to 1, it passed. Let's move on. Okay, we have committee reports, but can we take a 10-minute break? We have a lot of business today. It's been long.
I was before.
10 minutes, so 12:10, all right. All right, let's move on to the financial report section, right? Yes.
Before we go through
Yeah,
reports.
that is the one. The financial treasurer's report is the first one, 13.
Right.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes, Unite Committee report, A, report of the Finance Committee, Director Prater. And
Good af-
Treasurer, yeah, treasurer report and finance. Okay, go ahead,
All
move
right.
on.
Good afternoon. We are doing the report today, and a reminder that this is the report that ended on February 28th time period for this year. Okay? We can see here on the first slide that the revenue, you noted, was $10,281,000, and the expenses were $8,220,000, resulting in a revenue of $2,052,000. Okay, we try to keep a really good eye on this thing. The operating fund shows a surplus of about $819,000 through the reporting period. This table shows about the revenue went into operations with $4.9 million, coming in from assessments, and $236,000 coming from non-assessments revenue. This is compared to operating expenses of $4.3 million. All right, this table takes a full income statement and compares these results to the budget. We can see that United ended the period better than budget by $1.8 million when combined with all funds. A footnote here is a lot of this invoices that we have not received from vendors and stuff have been coming in slow. It's a good trend, and hopefully we can keep this trend going. Number 4. This is a variances from the budget attributed to the following. Outside services, favorable mostly because we have not been able to fill the, due to the timing and programs such as roof replacements, damage restoration, waistline remediation, and tree maintenance, among others. Okay. Again, we're waiting for invoices that will be processed to bring that back to the norm. Employee compensation, same thing. We talked about that. It's maintenance and construction has a lot of opening. It's included carpentry, plumbing, and paint. It's just not one segment that's causing us a problem, and they're in full speed trying to get some replacements. Material and supplies, same thing. It's just is in its timing, usage throughout the community in the areas, interior components, electrical, and paint. Again, invoices coming in. On the other side here, the fees and charges to residents, it's unfavorable again, primarily due to the timing of billing for chargeable services to residents for the damage restoration and carpentry. And everybody really understand this isn't just something that we just bill people after we get these charges. It's looked at very carefully. It's not a process that you can just do immediately. They do look at this and make sure that the numbers are right, and everybody's justified on that. Utilities and telephone, we had a very high water bill in February, so that did kick that in. I don't think it's going to get much better because it doesn't look like we're going to get much rain. Yeah. The new system that they have, that they've worked on very, very much in place, will help bring the watering down. And this system is actually starting in place now, too. It's a very automated system. It's measuring the water in the areas and everything else. So we should see, hopefully, a better trend on that one. Next, okay. This is the same thing. Pie chart on the thing, but what it's doing is just comparing it one, shows you the fees and charges, laundry rooms, other miscellaneous, less processing fees. So this is our non-assessment revenues that are coming in. 6.
This is the same thing showing the 329 of non-assessments revenue as presented in all this, the previous chart compares to the current year's budget. So this is the same chart, more graphic without the pie chart. And here's another pie chart. We'll see the expenses to date of $8.2 million, showing that our largest categories of expenses are for employee compensation, followed by property taxes, which will be due the 10th of this month, utilities, insurance, and so forth. I'll make a quick note on insurance. There is a very good ad hoc meeting going on, and Dan Yost is presenting a lot of really good suggestions with different companies and things, so it'll be shared shortly. Next slide. This one shows the 2.8 million expenses present. 8.2 million of the expenses presented in the previous pie chart, and it compares it to the current year's budget, showing our where we're at. Ending in 9 here almost. Go ahead. Our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on February 28th was $618,000. Contributions collected totaled $19,000, and no expenditures have been incurred to date. The reserve fund balance of February 28th of this year is $14.6 million. Contributions and investment revenue collected $2.5 million, while expenditures were $1.4 million. We compare them, these to the non-operating fund balances, historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this, which has averaged in 18.2. Okay. Number 11. This table illustrates the scheduled repayment for the temporary borrowing from the reserve fund. United has always kept a close look on this monthly and on the repayment of any borrowed monies from the reserve fund. On November 12th of last year, the board approved temporary borrowing from the reserve of $3.2 million. The borrowed monies were paid back in full by March 31st of this year as promised. Here's a table showing the history going back to 2023 to 2025 so far. Through February 28th, the United resales totaled 47. It's 6 resales less than the prior year at the same time period. And the average year-to-date price for United Manor was $396,000, which is $35,000 more than the prior year at the same period. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Architecture Control and Standard Committee, Director Blackwell, please.
Yes. Okay, we met and passed the bills that you saw today. And let me see. Let me see on the treasures. Oh, here we go. Okay. Wait a minute. We're in 13F? No, we're not.
Where to go?
We're on 13, where?
13B.
B is a boy.
B is in boy. Okay. Oh, I punched it and it all came backwards. Okay. All right. Okay, well, let me see. Revenue Committee, Finance Committee. No. Show me your sheet.
I'm trying to find it too, maybe.
I can't find it.
The ACSC meeting met on March 20th,
Yeah.
which was last 2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
And that is, what page is that here?
13B, page 224. What?
Banana?
Yeah, 13B. as in banana.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, yes. All right, Mr. Liberatore was not there, but he will be at the next one, I'm sure.
Okay.
We passed the items that we said, revise the exterior paint palette and groupings that will be going on still. Let's see, variance requests, yes. Items for future agenda would be revisions to the solar panel, some ramps, which are always ADA requests usually, and then we'll enact a standard for stair lifts. And we will meet again on April 17th at 9:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13C, report of member hearing committee, Director Carson.
Yes, these are closed meetings, but they are meet and confers, disciplinary hearings, and related to reimbursements from members to United Mutual or vice versa.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Report of governing dock review committee, Director Blackwell again. 13D, as in dog this time.
D as in donut.
Dog.
Donut. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we met with Nancy Carlson and Anthony Liberatore on January. We did not meet in February, and we will be meeting this month on the 17th. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. 13E, report of landscape committee, Director Kwon, please.
Great, just in the nick of time. I came so happy I did. You heard from
Yes.
CEO Foster about a number of activities the landscape committee is taking on, the landscape staff. And so they have about 7,000 trees that they're trying to trim this year with the new contract. And we are also noticing that 344 of them are Canary Island pines, and Kurt is the lead on this project. And so with the new maintenance, with the new tree maintenance company, they're going to try to do this in a sweep. And they're trying to do this in the first 4, 5, 6 months of the year and not have it drag out throughout the year. It works better for their company and it works better for us. Then they can move on to the next. So that's really very helpful. And again, we want people to know that United is not affected by the new rules for the fire. Thank heavens we're inside that ring and we don't have to spend money on that, which was a concern. Certainly we'll follow recommendations.
Thank you. Report of maintenance and construction committee, and I chaired the committee, but we have not met since February 26, which I reported last time, so no report. But tomorrow is next meeting, so you will hear from the committee next time. And G, report of the United Resident Advisory Committee, Director Willis.
Yes, not last month, this month it meets this Thursday, April 10th, in the Elm Room from 4 to 5.
Okay, thank you. And the report of United Revenue Committee, we met last Thursday, last Thursday of the month. And we had a whole bunch of list of the items that we were discussing and summarized into 4 or 5 categories of the possible revenue resources, like infrastructure contribution fee, GLF, dividend, and United Mutual Foundation, rental fee, flip manors, and resale, and so on, so on. So what we decide for the next step is making the chart of summary of the all items, and particularly involved with the civil code and Davis-Sterling Act, which one could be doable, which is not. So Next meeting, we will have a closed meeting with our legal counsel and make sure that which items will be further discussed and considered, all right? And next meeting is 28th, March, April 24th, on Thursday, right after agenda prep meeting. Thank you. All right, I think that will conclude United Community Report. Now, let's move on to GRF Committee highlights. 14A, report of GRF Finance Committee. Director Prater.
All right. That Finance Committee, in March, there actually did not have one. The next one is April 16th of this month.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yeah.
Sure. Next meeting is April 16th.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And report of Community Activity Committees, Director Costello.
Thank you. The committee met last month on March 13th. At that time, items for discussion and consideration was a application from the Camera Club to raise funds through the Village Community Fund project for a photo studio modernization project. It was considered and the motion passed, so we are recommending that to GRF. Village Community Fund project application for the Equestrian Help the Herd program. The Equestrian the fund president, Diane Phelps, presented their request. This is the third phase of that project. It was presented, we discussed it, and motion was passed, and we recommended that to GRF as well. What is still under review is the recreation policy. We are in the process of going line by line through the recreation policy and reviewing a lot of terminology discussion, which we will continue during our next meeting, which is this coming Thursday, which is April 10th at 1:30 in the boardroom here.
Thank you. C item, report of the GRF Landscape Committee. Director Kwam, please.
We have not met in a while. It's on a quarterly time period, and I'm sorry I can't find when the next meeting is.
May 14th.
Oh, thank you, May 14th.
Thank you. Report of GLF MNC Committee. February 12th was the last time that we met, so we have not met ever since the last time. So next meeting is going to be April 9th, which is April 9th is tomorrow. Okay. That is not the United Mutual MNC Committee, it's the following week. Sorry, tomorrow is GLF MNC Committee. And Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee is subcommittee of the MNC. Nancy?
Yes, we have some good news on that. I spoke with the engineer who had done the Building E studies, and we also arranged for the committee to go and examine Building E so that we could make some master planning decisions about what will transpire. So we had a great tour of it, and he just, without specificity, he thought at the time, when he looked at it 4 years ago, that it was potentially a rental project, which would be far cheaper than destruction. But he's going to be, we approved and the board approved, both the committee and the board approved. He's re-looking at it, the engineer, and going to give us an update, because at this point, no one's in the building, when before they had people in the building, so they couldn't do a core sample or something. So we'll get some great news about that, and it's on a fast track. That's wonderful, because it's going to lead to all the decisions that we need to make with staff and everything, so on and so forth. So I'm very pleased to give you this report on this 1.5-year long struggle.
Thank you. Right. Report of Mobility and Vehicle Committee, Director Costello.
Thank you. The committee met on February 5th, so there is no further update other than the one I gave last month. We meet quarterly, so the next meeting is May 7th at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Thank you. Report of Security and Community Access Committee, Director Carlson.
There's nothing additional to report. These committees meet every 2 months, so there's nothing new to report, but the underlying interest level is that we're really urging smart cards, and we want CAC and everybody to be on board, because that's really the key to our objective decisions and planning going forward.
Okay. Laguna Village traffic hearing, Director Kale, do you have any report?
There was a meeting on March 19th, which I unfortunately could not attend, and Director Blackwell did cover for me.
Mhm.
The next hearing is set for April 16th.
Thank you.
And we did give some fines.
Right. Yes, that's what she reported. Report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Willis.
The Disaster Prep Task Force last met on March 25th. The next meeting is on May 27th at 9:30 in the boardroom.
Thank you. Report of the Informational Technology Advisory Committee, Director Tuning.
Yeah, the GRF board voted to continue the ITAC committee where it was originally proposed to discontinue it. So that committee is going to continue. And they're still projecting the end of the year for the ERP system. I would not be surprised if we see budget and schedule changes to that by the end of the year, but they're projecting end of the year still. But the nature of that type of program is very difficult to project time-wise and cost sometimes. So don't be surprised if it goes beyond that, but that's what they're projecting into the year.
Thank you. All right, that will conclude the GLF committee report. Future agenda items are listed there. Approved on increase to annual corporate electric vehicle one that we initially approved today. And then enactment of Standard 9 again, that will be again rediscussed it. And rescission that has been denied today. So, and then request for the prohibiting the planting vegetables and new fruit trees will be continued. Any director's comment? Oh, it was the longest meeting ever. So if you have no comment, well, that's fine. But any comment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Some members asked me about signs, political signs or director signs. Okay. The California State Legislature, Civil Code 4710. The governing documents may not prohibit posting or displaying of non-commercial signs, posters, flags, or banners on or in a member's separate interest, except as required for the protection of public health or safety, or if the posting or display would violate a local, state, or federal law. For purposes of this section, a non-commercial poster, flag, or banner may be made of paper, cardboard, plastic, or fabric, and may be posted or displayed from the yard, window, door, balcony, or outside wall of the separate interest, but may not be made of lights, roofing, siding, paving materials, flora, or balloons, or any other similar building, landscaping, or decorative component, or include the painting of architectural surfaces. An association may prohibit non-commercial signs and posters that are more than 9 feet square in size, and non-commercial flags or banners that are more than 15 square feet in size. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Yes, Tom?
Yeah, I'd just like to say welcome to Murad again, because glad to have him on. And I just want to say I think that I really appreciate the professional job the corporate secretary, assistant corporate secretary do in these board meetings and everything. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? All right, then we will recess until, have a lunch, and then we will reconvene 1 o'clock. We have a 2 o'clock kind of limited time block for the staff to present and then go. So 1:30. 1 o'clock. I'm sorry. See, it's long meeting. 1 o'clock. Let's hurry and eat. We need some energy. Thank you.